another episode of the Macon Family Blog. In this particular episode, we're going to talk about how to get married in the Philippines with a foreigner. Alright, so this one is because we actually just got married, and since people got married since after the pandemic, some things have changed. So we want to kind of like inform you of what those changes are and how those things can help you. And we want to give you the step-by-step things and instructions that you need to do so you and your soon-to-be wife, if you decide. Now, this is only if you decide to get married in the Philippines. This is not if you decide to get married in another country. Okay, so if you're in the United States and you're trying to bring your Filipina over to the United States to get married, most likely you're going to have to get a K-9 visa. This does not discuss that. That's a wholly different situation. So these are for foreigners who are planning to get married in the Philippines specifically, okay? Not for other countries. So I don't want you guys to get mixed up, all right? So some of the requirements that you need to get married in the Philippines is that the number one thing you always need, a birth certificate for both parties, okay? Not a passport, the actual birth certificate from your country. I have mine. Actually, I brought all my paperwork with me when I came to the Philippines because I knew sooner or later it's going to be needed. Not only that, all right, if you've been divorced in your country, all right, you have to bring the divorce papers with you and file it with the paperwork, all right? So not only do you need your birth certificate, but you also need your divorce papers if you're divorced, because some countries allow divorce, like the United States. I'm American. I have been divorced. I had a divorce. I had the paperwork, everything notarized, everything. I had that with me. So you have to not only show that document, but you have to show the document of your birth certificate. Now, for the Filipina, she's going to need a certificate of no marriage, which is a Cinemar paper. Okay? That is for the Filipina. She needs to do that. She has to prove that she has not been married, okay? And that there is a paper called a Cinemar. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you want to explain that or no?
You explain.
I don't know. It's just a piece of paper that they have to where that said I guess the people know if the Filipino's been married or not. All right. Now, if she has been married in the Philippines, there is no divorce in the Philippines, all right?
Yeah.
But there's an annulment process, right? So if she has been married and she went through that annulment process, most likely she's going to have to bring that paperwork and proof that she's annulled, all right? Or if the Filipina was in another country where she got married, or maybe she was married in the Philippines, then she went to another country to live, and then at that country, she got divorced in that country, then she would have to bring that paperwork to show proof that she's not married, that she got divorced. Because there's been Filipinas who got married here in the Philippines, and for example, I know of a lady, she got married in the Philippines, then she moved to the United States with her husband, and then they got divorced in California. So she actually got divorced. She has legal divorce paperwork from the United States. So if she decides to get married in the Philippines again, she will have to bring that divorce paper with her to show that she's been divorced, okay? Another thing that you need is a residence certificate, which is a cedula paper for both. Cedula, right? Mm-hmm. Cedula paper for both parties. I think what I did for my residency was I just proved that I lived here, I believe. Like I have a lease and I have paperwork that I'm living here in the Philippines. And they let that go as residence certificate. No, I think I had to go to the barangay.
Yeah, we get a barangay.
Yeah, I had to go to the barangay. I'm sorry. I had to go to the barangay to get the paper from the barangay to say that I live in that particular barangay. And then I took that paper to the city hall or whatever you decide to get married, the marriage license place, and I have that proof that I lived in the barangay. The barangay signed off on it, and then that was my proof of residency. So that was how it worked out for me. So that's an idea, guys. If you want to prove your residency, if you want to prove anything in the Philippines, always goes to the barangay, because you can get paperwork and stuff there.
They will help you.
And matter of fact, for what I believe, you have to get paperwork for the barangay anyway before you even go to City Hall to do the marriage license. That you have to have paperwork for the barangay. So that's mandatory. All right. So I think that's how I did my residency. Now, come to think about it, valid IDs. All right. The Filipina can use a voter's ID or a 10 ID, or what other IDs are there? There's a few. SSID or SSS, Social Security, SSS,
Yeah.
and then there's other IDs. But she used the voter's ID and then her 10 card number.
Only one.
Yeah.
Voters ID. That's they need voters ID.
The voter's ID. Now, it's 2022, so I'm going to let you guys know. They are making the Philippines national ID. Now, okay? So if you guys are watching this and you're in the Philippines, they know what I'm talking about. They're making a Philippine national ID. So I think soon you're going to need that national ID to get married as proof of identity. I'm just letting you guys know, because this is something that's going on now.
Yeah.
No, it's not no maybe. It's going to be soon. They just haven't made it mandatory, because they're going to make it mandatory that all Filipinos get this national ID. It came from the Duterte administration. Now it's here in the Marcos administration, and they're spending money about this national ID. So I'm just giving you guys a warning that most likely soon the Filipina is going to need her national ID for identification. And that will be identification for everything. That will be proof of the voter. That's going to trump everything. So this is just a warning that that's going to happen soon. It may happen before the end of the year, most likely sometime in 2023. But that's going to be soon, all right? So that's something you guys can look out for, all right? Now, after you got the IDs, their signature of parents. Now, the signature of parents is only if you are under, I think you have to be
18 or
I think
20 years old.
I think the male has to be under 23, the female has to be under 21, or the female has to be under 23, the male has to be under 21. But if you're young, very young, you need signatures of both parents, okay?
And they need parents.
Yeah, you need the parents' signatures.
Bring IDs
All right.
of parents.
Yeah, here it is. If you're 18 to 20 years old, you need the father's consent. And if you're 21 to 24 years old, you need both parents' advice. So if you're very, very young and you want to come to the Philippines to get married, I would not suggest that, because if you're under 25, they're going to want your parents' signature in your home country, all right?
Yeah.
And that's going to be another hassle. So if I was very young, I don't know what you would have to do to get around it. I don't think you can get around it, because they have age limits. So if you're 18 to 20, you need your father's consent, both parties, male and female. So if you're a foreigner and you don't have your father's consent, they're not going to let you marry the Filipina. All right, and the parents need to bring IDs. So not only can you just falsify, oh, my father said that, I get married, but they want the ID of the parent. So that's going to be something that. That's going to be another hassle if you're a foreigner, if you're under 25, all right? Just now, it could be done because you can have your father, I guess, or your mother send photocopies of the IDs, which is what they take anyway, is a photocopy. So it can be done, but it's going to be a hassle. I don't know what the advice is when it comes to that. I don't know if the parents just sign something to say they give advice to. I don't know how that works because I'm not young. But I did see couples with parents when they was applying to get married, and I guess they was getting the advice and getting through this process. So I did see younger couples have parents with them when they signed the paperwork, when they signed the marriage license, when they signed the application. There was parents that had to sign it too.
Yeah.
All right. So
We saw that,
yeah, we did see that. So that is something that's real. All right. Now, another thing that has to be done is that you have to go to a seminar for marriage counseling, family planning. This is mandatory. We had to go through it. And what it is pretty much a sex education video.
Yeah.
They talk about sex, they talk about the birds and the bees, the sperm, and they talk about everything. This is like going back, for Americans, we had sex education like 6th grade. This is going back to 6th grade, all right? This is serious. This is mandatory. You have to take this course. You have to go, and it has to be done. Usually it's done at City Hall or whatever city that you're trying to get married in. There is some office that you go to apply for this. We did ours online virtually. Now the thing about it was that we tried to get married 2 years ago, so we did our form, we did the paperwork 2 years ago for this. But what happened was the paperwork only expires for 6 months. All paperwork, just to let you know, is only 6 months valid for 6 months. So if you do any paperwork, anything in the Philippines is only valid for 6 months. If that 6 months is over, you have to start the process of getting the paperwork done all over again. We went through it personally, so I'm just letting you know paperwork. And I found out the first time because and I'm gonna tell you the next thing that you need. You need a foreigner. If you're a foreigner, the foreigner has to get a legal capacity to marry. Okay.
From embassy.
That was before that changed, and I'm gonna tell you why. When I went and originally tried to get married with her, I had the paperwork for the foreign legal capacity, but it was over 6 months old. At the time, the embassy was closed because it was during the COVID, so the United States embassy was closed. Okay, so we could not go to the embassy to get this paper. I tried and tried and tried to get the mayor, the city officials to accept my old paper, but they would not accept it because it was 6 months expired, and we did not get married because of that paper. This happened 2 years ago. All right. Now, in February or March of 2021, the embassies in the Philippines government made a deal to where, because the embassies was closed and people wanted to get married and foreigners was complaining. So what they did was they passed a resolution. I don't know the exact resolution. I have to get it, but they passed like a resolution or something, or they passed something to where you don't no longer have to go to your embassy to get married. You can get the paperwork done by a notary in the Philippines, but you still have to bring all the paperwork of proof that you're not married. Because what the legal capacity to marry was in the United States, at least, was you just went to the embassy and you brought your divorce paper, and they don't even have a record. Really, they can check, but not really. And you swear that you're not married, and then they stamp the paperwork, and then they give you the piece of paper, which is a notary paper, and it says this person is not married in this country, and that they're legally able to get married in the Philippines. That's all this paper is. All this paper is just saying that whatever foreign country you at, you're not married in that country, and they're giving you valid proof that you're not married, and you just swear. So that paper, they realized that they really didn't need that from the embassy. Okay, so they made a resolution to where you no longer have to go to the embassy to get the legal capacity to get married, but you still need that paper. So what they do is at the embassy, you download a form, and it gives you what to say, what to write, and you take that form to the notary republic here in the Philippines, and then they'll stamp it. They'll swear you're not married and things like that. You bring all your paperwork. They'll check the paperwork. They'll stamp it and they'll sign it, and then they'll give it back to you, and then that'll be your legal capacity to marry. Okay, so you no longer have to go to your embassy to get this done, but you still need this paper from your to get married. And if you go to your embassy, most likely there is a place where it talks about getting married to a Filipina on your embassy, and then they'll tell you what I just told you, and they may give you a form, or they'll tell you to go to the Filipino Statistic Authority website. Okay, and then you can download the form at the Philippine Statistical, I forgot, PSA, I believe it is, Philippine Statistical Authority. It is a website. And you can go there and download this form. for foreigners to get married. And that's what I did. I went to that website and I downloaded the form from the Philippine Statistical Authority website.
That
and
is smart.
yes, and then I went and got it done with the notary. So that's what happened. So I'm giving you tips that you have to get that done as a foreigner. There is no ifs, ands, or buts of you getting married without that form being done. That's mandatory. Okay?
Yeah.
So I think we talked about, if your name is different, like say your name on your birth certificate is spelled one way and your name on your passport or ID is spelled differently, then you have to give an affidavit for explanation of the name change. That is, and that could be done at City Hall, wherever you go. It's just a lawyer. They're just proving that because my name is spelled, they misspelled my name on my birth certificate. So my name on my birth certificate is different than everything else. But due to the fact that I've been using my name spelled a certain way, it's on my Social Security card, it's on my passport, it's on my New York State ID, it's on all my IDs the way I spell it, except the birth certificate. That gave them proof that, okay, this guy is using his name this way, this is his name, and I had to sign a form. And actually I did that even in New York, and even like for the passport. I had to sign an affidavit saying that they misspelled my name on my passport, and I had to fill that out at when I signed for the passport. And even for the state of New York, anywhere I got the ID except Social Security, I had to prove that I spelled my name that way, and I have documents that this is the way I use this name all my life. So if you have that problem, I had that problem. I think she had that problem with her name or something being missing from her birth certificate. She had
missing. They cannot read.
They couldn't read it.
I explained it to them, even in the province, that when we get that another one, it's still the same. They cannot read.
Yeah,
so I need to get the affidavit of.
There was an affidavit for explanation. So if there's anything wrong with your paperwork, with your name or your birth certificate or anything, you have to sign an affidavit to explain what that situation is. But it takes a minute. It's not that long.
They will not approve if your birth certificate, they cannot read. They will not approve.
Yeah, they wouldn't approve it. So we had to get affidavits to prove everything that we done. We did it though. We did it. So it doesn't take long, and it's a little extra money, probably an extra couple 200, 300 pesos, depending where you're at. Matter of fact, all of this actually came up to maybe 1,000 pesos because we had the birth certificates. The Cinemar paper, I think, was like 200 or 350 or something like that. And then there was a tax thing that you had to pay. Remember that there was a tax?
Yeah, tax for 400 plus.
Yeah, so I forgot. There's also a tax you have to pay. The Filipina has to pay a tax.
The cedula.
That's the cedula?
Oh.
That's the residence certificate? That was the tax? Because I remember paying some type of tax.
Yeah, this one.
That's the cedula? Alright, so the Cinemore costs money. The cedula costs money. The affidavits.
But it's not really cost. It's not.
It's like 200 or 300 pesos. I'm letting them know this is not free. There is a cost.
Yeah, you need to pay.
And there's a cost, right?
No
That's why I'm just letting you guys know. Even the affidavit for capacity to get married, you have to pay.
Need to pay money.
When I paid for the affidavit for legal capacity, it was like 2,500 pesos, which is like $50 US. But you no longer have to pay at the embassy. So when you go to the notary, it's going to be cheaper. You can find notaries that are cheap that will do the paperwork, probably for like 300 or 400 pesos. I went to a lawyer that cost a lot of money, and he made me pay 2,500 pesos to get my legal capacity done. But he's expensive. When I went somewhere else to get some paperwork done, it was only like maybe 200, 300 pesos, depending on how many copies you need and stuff like that. Oh, speaking of copies, you have to make copies of all this paperwork.
Yeah,
the birth certificate, the passport, the IDs, the divorce paper. You need copies. You need probably like 5 or 6 copies of each document. because
he will ask you everything.
they will ask you for copies of everything.
Yeah.
So I would suggest maybe 7 copies of everything. All right, just to make sure that you have enough copies to go through what you need to go through. All right, so we're going to go back over. You need the birth certificate. You need a certificate of no marriage, which is Cinemar. You need the residence certificate, which is the cedula. You need your divorce paper or annulment, depending on your situation. You need valid IDs from both parties, which means most likely you're going to need your passport, and then she's going to need her ID. And you need the seminar, marriage, counseling, family planning paper. And then you need the foreigner legal capacity to marry. All right. And passport, birth certificate, plus if you need affidavits, you need that information. Okay. So we just want to make sure that you have everything that you need. Every city has some type of paper that has the checklist. So I'm reading it from the checklist that I have in Columbus, but it's pretty much the same checklist everywhere. And remember that you don't have to go to the embassy anymore for the legal capacity to get married. You can do that with a notary, but you should go to the Philippine Statistical Authority website to download the paper for the legal capacity to get married, because they have the form and it has all the stuff you need to fill out and what you need, what the notary needs to stamp and stuff like that. All right, so this was a longer video than I thought, but it's okay because this is to help people. Remember to please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notary button for all of our videos of Macon Family Vlog. Thank you for the 367 subscribers, so we keep moving up. And thank you for the views of all of our videos. We're having videos now that are reaching 1,000 views. Most of them is averaging like 400 to 500. So we're thankful for that. And thank you for everything you've given us. Thank you for the well wishes. Thank you for supporting our shorts. We have shorts now. Okay, so we're doing shorts from different things. So my wife is doing a comedy with her sister, Maid versus Boss. And then I uploaded some videos from trips that I've taken, and I made those in the shorts. I tried to do a video after a song, but nobody liked it, so I deleted it. But it's okay because we're still growing our channel. But please support our shorts. Also, please like our shorts, because we're trying to give you different content and something that you enjoy. Until then, thank you so much. This is an episode, How to Get Married in the Philippines with the Foreigner. How to get married in the Philippines with the foreigner. That's this episode. Thank you so much. God bless you. Take care. Till next time. Peace.